Ladies and gents, Seahawks fans of all ages, welcome back to the 12 Talk podcast. My name's Josh, and wait, am I going to get it right? This is my podcasting partner in crime, Mitch. We're in the wrong place, mate. I usually am that side, so it's all confusing.
You ruined it there with the pointing. You're doing so well.
Started so well. So thank you for joining in today. We are going to review the Seahawks 16 points to 6 win over the Arizona Cardinals. What a win it was. We've got our 12 talking points. We've also got a very special guest, soon to be member of the Discord and has been a follower of ours on X for a long time, Rich. So we're bringing him on soon. Before I do that, Mitch, how are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, really good. Work is nuts at the moment, but we're coming to the end of that, hopefully. And I worked a 70-hour week last week. So outside of doing the pod, I was basically just working and sleeping. But luckily, I managed to finish that week with a Seahawks win and an Arsenal win, as I'm a big Arsenal fan as well. It felt like a nice way to round off that hellish week of work, to be honest with you.
Nice.
Yeah, what about yourself? You all good?
Yeah, got busy. Yesterday was a heck of a sporting day for me. I went to I'm never going to call it its actual name now, Twickenham, the home of English rugby, the Allianz Stadium, to watch England versus Japan. My friend got me a ticket for my birthday, so I was well happy with that. And then managed to get the train home and catch most of the game, which
Beautiful.
was
what a day.
Oh, no, what a day. If you are joining us as well, can I just say thank you very much. By all means, feel free to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can share us with whoever you want. We're a growing community. And speaking of communities, this man here is the king of the Discord. You can join our Discord. Mitch will throw the link up in the comments as well. Before we start, let's just give a very quick shout out to the UK Seahawkers. We are their official podcast. We're still very, very honoured to have been asked to become their official podcast. We are both card carrier members. And if you'd like to become a card carrier member, it is £12 for individual membership, £20 for a family of up to 4 in the same address. If you're outside the UK, there's additional £5 for postage. But with the membership, you will get access to social events, 10% discount at the Pro Shop if you go to Seattle to watch a game, chance of winning game day field passes, members-only competitions as well. There was also a whole host of goodies this year. We got our throwback wristband and patch. We got our RFD card, and then you get your membership card as well. And
beautiful,
Seahawker of the Month is back. Now, if you're not a member of the UK Seahawks or the German Seahawkers, you might not see these. You will get an inbox from your chapter chairman asking you to vote for the UK Seahawk or the Seahawker of the Month. And there are various facts that go into that. Fundraising, raising awareness of the chapters, anything like that, outreach. So if you are not a member and you want to become a member, by all means, the link will be in the comments down here to get to the Facebook page, and then you can pay through PayPal. But apart from that, Mitch, shall we hit the intro and bring on our very special guest?
I can't wait. Let's do it.
Beautiful. Let's do it. And we're back, and here we are with our special guest, Rich.
Good evening, gents. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Do you know what? You are the second Welshman that we've had on this pod. For a slightly thicker accent though than the last one. So for anyone,
Valley accent, I do apologise.
The valleys. All my family's from Aberdeen, so I kind of get weird about. Yeah. So Rich, as I said before, he has been a follower of ours on X for a while now. One of the first UK sort of Seahawks fans to follow us. So thank you so much. Always good for an interaction as well. And at the end of this, we will be guiding him into our Discord. I say Mitch will be doing the guiding. I will be doing the smiling and nodding. before we go further, Rich, do you want to give us a bit of background as to your Seahawks fandom?
Oh, well, this is a very strange journey, I will say. So a big group of friends of ours, we're all NFL fans in general, and they all had a lot of teams before I did in, say, like the mid-90s area. And the NFL website at the top had all the logos of all the teams at the top of the website. And I picked a team by closing my eyes and hovering over on the mouse. And lo and behold, I landed on the Seahawks. And once I'm latched on to something, I stick with it. And since that day, yeah, just been a fan ever since, and just really interested in interacting with people, and obviously how social media is improving and things. You've got more chance of interacting with people from all around the world, which how good is that? So, yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, this is something that we pride ourselves on, having that sort of a community that's growing of sort of international fans being able to sort of talk to each other and just have a sort of a hub, a community where you can voice your opinions on a pod or in the Discord or via our social media. And like I said, you're always very interactive with us. So as soon as we got the opportunity to bring you on, I thought, let's do it.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah.
And you get to talk about a win as well.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's always nice, especially with how inconsistent it's been this year. But obviously, it was going to be one next, really, with obviously the new coaching staff and everything like that. But no, always a pleasure to be on a Victory Monday. So,
oh God, I love a Victory Monday. So what we'll do before we sort of delve into the deeper nitty-gritty bits. So anyone who is new here, thank you very much. We're going to just give a brief overview of what happened during the game. We'll have a quick chat from our charity sponsor as well. And then we will go into our 12 talking points. So those of you who have never experienced 12 talking points before, each of us, hang on, I'm pointing that way, 1, 2, pick 4 points from the game where we're going to have just 2 observations and then 2 things that we're going to have a discussion about. Any of you guys in the comments, that side, I think it is on YouTube. If you have any questions, Mitch is going to be watching after those comments as well. So if there's any comments or questions that come in that we can discuss, we'll start doing them during as well. And then at the end of it, we have our Discord member musings. So Rich, after this episode, you can join in those every week as well.
absolutely.
And if anyone else wants to join, you can hit that link that Mitch will pop in there as well. So let's have a look. So the Seahawks took down the other birds in the NFC West, 16 points to 6. Not the most convincing offensive display, but a solid defensive display. And I have a feeling that Mike McDonald was probably smiling all the way home, mainly because he's probably still got lights and other people in the area may not. So, my heart goes out to everyone that may still be without power, because that is absolutely awful. And I hope it does get turned back on soon if it's not there already. But let's have a quick look through the scoring. So it was pretty much a damp squib in that first quarter. There wasn't a lot going on. Then we started to sort of kick into gear in the second with Arizona scoring that field goal from Ryland, and then that beautiful touchdown throw from Gino to JSM, which was converted by Myers with the extra point. And then that was pretty much it from an offensive standpoint, scoring wise anyway. Then we had the COBY pick 6 in the third quarter with the beast mode Selly. Extra point was missed by Myers. And in the fourth quarter, a field goal apiece, leaving the scores 16 to 6. We are going to have a very quick word from the Robbing Cancer Trust, and then we're going to come back with our 12 talking points because we've all picked some slightly different things. So if you guys have got anything you want to add as well, by all means, pop it in the comments and we will be reading those out as soon as we can.
I want to take a minute just to introduce you our charity partner for the pod, the Robbing Cancer Trust. The Robbing Cancer Trust is the UK's germ cell cancer community. For those who don't know what germ cell cancer is, that is testicular and ovarian cancer, and the RCT was set up following the family tragedy, which sadly saw them lose their son and brother to germ cell cancer. Germ cell cancer is something that can affect anyone at any time, and the RCT Robbing Cancer Trust do a fantastic job creating awareness through the various campaigns like Talking Bollocks and Not Overreacting. If you or a member of your family have been affected or think you may be affected by it, please visit their website, therobbingcancertrust.org, to see how you can spot the signs, how you can manage it, and become part of the community. And if you'd like to help fundraise or give anything to them, by all means, that would be absolutely fantastic.
There you go. So another quick shout to Robbing Cancer Trust there, someone that we are incredibly proud to support on this pod. If you or anyone that's been affected, by all means, visit their website because they have some fantastic initiatives. And just it's the only time I get to swear on this pod. You can always hashtag Talking Bollocks or hashtag Not Overreacting. But gents, shall we get into our talking points? Before we get into the talking points, Mitch, I'm glad you're a man in the comments here because there's quite a lot coming through, and I know there's a lot of members of the Discord that are watching. So if you are watching and you're not in the comments on YouTube, I would advise you do it because it is highly entertaining. But is there anything that you guys want to bring up before we go through our talking points?
I'm really eager to get into them. Knowing what Richard's got down to talk about, I'm kind of keen to just get into it. I think you said we all landed on different ones. I think some of us kind of wrestled a little bit over certain players we want to talk about. We split up. We split up in the end, but I think there's some themes there that are just absolutely sort of shining like beacons. We all want to touch upon it, so we should get some really good conversation here, I think.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have people joining in with us as well. So, 12 talking points, and as always, as our special guest, the man in the middle. There you go, Rich. You will get to start with your talking points. We can just both do a Brady Bunch thing. If I point up and you point down at the same time, Mitch. There you go. That one. Yeah. Right. 12 talking points. So here we go. Rich, your first talking point, my friend.
Yeah, I know I've jumped the gun here quite clearly as he's still got his rookie deal, but I do not care. When this rookie deal ends, we are paying this man. He is that good. It's simply because what he sees and how he reacts so fast to trouble and his instincts early, he's a difference maker. It's just those little nuances in the game that you've either got that or you haven't. You can't coach this sort of stuff. And that goes along with his mentality as well and how much of a dog he is, really. I just think, obviously, people have been mentioning about his stats haven't quite been up, but I don't care about that, to be honest with you. He's doing a lot in the game. So that's bringing other people in and they are flourishing on the stats part of it. But if it's not for what Spoon is doing, who knows if that's going to happen. I just think he is that good. And people said, when we picked him, like how high it was and that. But I just think this guy's going to be here for the long term. And let's have it, really. We should enjoy him.
Needs to be. Spoon, pay that man. Right. Next one. Big Cat was hungry. This is a discussion point because we all wanted to talk about him.
Well, let's be truly honest. He butchered them throughout, didn't he? Every single thing he did was impactful. He flattened Evan Brown about 4 times as well. I think he didn't have a nice welcome back, did he? But
that was what I enjoyed the most, was that it was Evan Brown.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, welcome back to Seattle, my friend. You've just been absolutely nailed a couple of times, and it's more than once. But no, again, he had his 2.5 sacks. And he fell on Kyler towards the end, didn't he? And I'm surprised Kyler got up from that, to be honest with you. But I think you would need a freight train to move Leonard Williams yesterday, to be honest. He was that good. I just think up against top 5 pass blocking offensive line, there we go. I just think that speaks for itself, really. So
you can't ask for more. Go on, Mitch, because you wanted to discuss him. You go next, mate.
Yeah. What I love is the pass rush. The pass rush got home through the center against an extremely mobile quarterback. How many times have we seen Kyler Murray just flushed out the pocket, but still snapping off a first down? It was that dominant and it was that quick that he was consistently able to get in there and nail Kyler Murray before he had a chance to go anywhere. And I think when you see the actual stat sheet, you'll see that it wasn't just 2.5 sacks. It was 3 or 3.5 TFLs as well. that was the regularity that he was blowing up plays and wrecking the game. The other thing to mention here is that since we've been able to stop the run, we can actually get home with a pass rush. Who knew that quarterbacks holding the ball allowed sacks to happen? It's news to me. So yeah, no, I absolutely loved the performance. He was dominant. No one could handle him. They didn't come out in the second half with a plan that would stop him. And it was absolutely brilliant to see his best game in Seattle for me.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more with what you both said. I think he was just dominant through the middle and off the edge, and that was what really sort of solidified it for me. As soon as you saw him rushing against their left tackle and absolutely dominating him to get through for that sack, I thought Big Cat is on one today, and he is really showing to be a force. Now we've got this. I think they've Big Cat essentially knows exactly what his role is within that D line, and it is that of a play wrecker. And Mitch, what you were saying about it's weird how when you stop the run and you have to keep a quarterback in the pocket, how often they get sacked or make mistakes. Sounds pretty much like what we're having at the moment as well with Gino, doesn't it? And if that's the defensive game plan, all for it. All for it. Big Cat, even though he's getting on in age, in inverted commas, says the 40-year-old, I would happily see him extended again if he carries on.
I'm going to pop this on screen before we get off this subject, because I think this is really exciting and it's key, and it's coming from Jonas Meister from the German Seahawks. So apologies for covering your face, Josh, but... So Jonas has said we might see Nwosu returning this week, potentially. He's just tweeted perfect timing. Thanks for that, Jonas. What could be better than finally getting home with the pass rush, stopping the run, and adding Nwosu to the edge rotation? Frightening. And now that we've beaten the Cardinals and we've got that 44% chance of making the playoffs, we're also the NFC's third seed currently. Weirdly, because we're winning, because we're first in our division, we are the third highest scoring. Our record is the third best of first place teams in their division. First place currently, I think, is the Detroit Lions, who are 10-1.
Yeah.
It's
got to be the Eagles,
and then it's the Eagles, then it's us, and the Vikes are in fifth because they're second in their division, right behind. Is it behind the Lions in their division? So
yeah,
is it? I can't remember. My knowledge of the other NFC divisions isn't great, but either way, we're currently third ranked because we're winning the NFC West. If we can hold on to that and go in as a third seed, get a favourable first matchup from a wild card or whatnot in the first round, we might actually see 2 playoff games if we get there on the current pace. So,
God,
sorry,
Mitch,
I'm getting excited, boys. I'm getting excited.
Don't fill us with hope. Don't fill us with hope. We know how that goes.
No idea.
Let's go on to the next point, Rich. Oh, I love this one as well.
Yeah, I just find he's getting to grips with the scheme. Obviously, he's been trusted, isn't he, since we got rid of Dodson. But I'm just thinking it's just nice to see him get his first sack as well. So he's making plays, but he's made a meaningful one there, again, his first sack. I'm pretty sure that's a monkey off the back for himself as well, and his impact in the game. But I just love the energy and the juice he brings as well. He's still a work in progress, of course, because there's other little bits and pieces where you need to brush up, obviously, as a rookie, but the more you play and the more you get involved in this elite environment, you're going to learn that. But you can see why he led the conference with UTEP with his 140 tackles, career high. You can see why he just gets in the right place and he throws himself at people, and often or not, it works, to be honest. But yeah, it's quite a team from him and Ernest Jones. And yeah, just thinking, holding James Conner to 8 rushing yards, his lowest total since he's been with the Cardinals, So, and before this game, all the soundboards were on how good Connor's been and how explosive he's been. And it's thought, obviously, Tyrese Knight was a big part of stopping that, really. And look at the scoreboard, that doesn't lie either. So, yeah, I'm just happy with how he's getting on. And I think Mike McDonald, I think he can see he fits into his scheme like a glove, really. And let's hope stays injury free and gets more action as we go on. But yeah, really impressed with him, to be honest, since he's come in.
Great. Go on, Mitch.
Yeah, for Tyrese Knight, I think since we got Ernest Jones, it's kind of carved out Tyrese Knight's workload. It's kind of said, this is what you're going to get from Ernest Jones every game, every down. He's going to be this, and what's left for Tyrese Knight. It's his workload and what's expected of him has become so much clearer. That I think he's just managing that workload a bit better. And the NFL will slow down for him. It won't be his sort of rookie first year breakneck speed everything for the entirety of the season. It will slow down for him progressively. But add in the fact that he's now got a teammate that is outstanding and is a real specialist at what he does. Tyrese now knows what he needs to do, and it's coming at him at a slower pace. And I think that's how it's starting to look. He looks in control, and yeah, brilliant. Really good performance from him yesterday.
Yeah, agreed. I relied on Mitch a lot when it came to us drafting Tyrese Knight for Mitch to tell me anything about him, and I wasn't super high on it. Oh, apologies, I seem to become a popular person in the evening. I wasn't super high on it, and I think he's proving that Mike Mack can spot a linebacker, and he's using him in this system. I mean, you look at the fact that we jettisoned Dodson, and he had that fantastic one-handed INT with Miami. I wish him all the best, because I do think he is a classy operator at linebacker, just wasn't a scheme fit. If we've now got Jones and Knight in this system, and Mike Mack can do what he needs to do with them to turn them into an absolute force in the middle, I'm all for it. Mike Mack, if you need to draft linebackers in the 4th round or 5th round every single year because you think they're going to be a scheme fit, go on, my son. Have at it. Yeah, I think he, like I said, Rich, he's getting used to the system. He knows what his role is. Like Mitch has said, he's now got this very defined role within that next to EJ, and that's what we want. And there's a big saying in American football circles, just do your job. So where the defense was failing previously because people weren't sure about if their teammate knew their job and they were trying to do 2 things and second guess him, I think this is what we've seen now from the defense. People know their jobs. It's been simplified, it's been refined, and Tyrese Knight is really starting to show that he knows exactly what his role is. And yeah, I'm excited to see his development going forward. So your 4th and final one, the man. Come on, JSN, the hype is real.
Yeah, I just feel he's getting trusted a lot more by Gino. He had the team high receptions yesterday. We've all seen what he's been doing the last couple of games. It's just to get that 46-yard, obviously he run on, and then he ended it with getting the touchdown. But I just thought that play in general and that speed he showed. I know they could be classed as quick, but I just think that was deceptively quick to get as far as he did, and he almost got there, but it was a good tackle in fairness. But he's getting trusted a lot more. He's a safe pair of hands, very rarely drops the ball, and he makes an impact with every play he seems to have, and he's producing it on a regular basis now. And I think that obviously, again, Shane Waldron absolutely stifled him last year. It couldn't have been easy for him, to be honest.
Offensive mastermind Shane Waldron, don't you mean?
I felt so sorry for him. Imagine coming into the NFL, brilliantly being picked, and then that sort of thing happens. But we're under no illusions with the offense at the moment either. But when we need something, he's making that play. And again, I think that's something that's really, really positive. He's only going to get better. And he's a safe pair of hands. And yeah, long may it continue.
Tied in with a stat off the top rope. Tied 2nd for the safest pair of hands in the league since he joined the league.
Who's top?
Couldn't tell you. I only saw the stat on Twitter that he was tied for the 2nd. It was with a minimum of 80 targets. He was the 2nd safest pair of hands in the league since making debut, which is a great stat because he's had 120 targets in. He's had 120 receptions, I should say, in his first 2 years. So, and also while we're here doing the stats on JSN, this game we just had was the game where he surpassed statistically last year's overall total. He's now got more receptions than he had last year, and he's got more yards than he had last year. And we're 5 games short of the 17 games he played last year. So
I saw he's on target for over 1,100 yards this season if it carries on the same production.
How good would that be? Yeah,
only 6 touchdowns, but you know what? I'd take it. If you think
wide receiver 3, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
I think our forecast before the season started, Mitch, of him overtaking Lockett as wide receiver 2 has come to fruition. Grubb seems to love him.
Yeah.
And
he's taking a shine to him, isn't he, Grubb? Let's be honest, he's taking a shine to him, and obviously DK, like as well. But like Tyler's taking a little bit of a back seat, but what an option to have as well, as we know.
Exactly.
It's all over the years, but yeah, JSN, I think he's starting to creep up a little bit, and it's all going to benefit us guys, I think, because again, what a joy to watch.
That's it. So fantasy owners, next year, he's going to be a high draft pick if he carries on like this. Mitch, shall we go into your talking points, sir?
Yes, let's do that. What have we got first?
Kobe
the glue.
Yeah.
The glue. And I don't mean, this isn't a reference to sticky coverage and whatnot. This is a reference to gluing the D-line to the back end. I feel like we've got a guy in Kobe that can mix it with tight ends in coverage. We've got a guy who is a willing support in defending the run. He's always had superb ball hawking instincts, as we saw in his college days, and just playmaking ability with the peanut punches in his debut year. These big sort of defensive moments that he's had repeatedly over the last 4 games. He is since he has started in this team, he has been, for me, the consistent standout when it comes to making big moments in the games in varied ways as well. It's not like he's done the same thing 5 games running. He has found ways to affect the game and swing the momentum. He is the glue between the front end and the back end in this team, which is what you want in a star safety.
Go on, Rich, you can go.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking that obviously Rayshon Jenkins was back yesterday, and I think it says a lot that they didn't feel like they needed to change too much, and Rayshon Jenkins is going to play a little bit differently with the fact that the form that Kobe's offered. I think that's a great sort of trait to have, really, and if that says that he's not playing well, then what does, really? So, Jenkins came in, and obviously they wanted him to make a big impact. Obviously, injuries happen. Kobe, this was his chance. Mike McDonald said himself, this is a big chance for him. It's up to him to take it. He's doing it in training, for example, and all the practice. And now we need to get him into a game to do it. And I completely agree with Mitch. He's doing it.
Yeah, he's taken the ball by the horns with this opportunity, hasn't he? I mean, I'm very, very openly was a Kobe criticizer at cornerback. I think he's found his role at safety, and he's not afraid to lay the boom when needs be. He gets himself in the right positions. He's a sure tackler. Still a bit dubious about that tackle from last week where he just ran full pelt at someone, and even though everyone was going, it was great, he stopped him in his tracks. I was like, yes, but he also bounced back about 3 yards. I think you're just going to see a constant improvement from Kobe now, to the point where Rayshon Jenkins is now the 3rd safety on the depth chart. And then you think underneath him, you've got Jerick Reed, who they hold in very high regard. So at some point, it's a nice problem to have, especially if you're going to have a 3-headed monster with 3 safety looks and whatnot. More than happy with that. But I think, Kobe has been outstanding every single time I've seen him. And can we just give a big shout out? It's the cover of our YouTube pod. It is the beast mode grab, which he is probably going to get fined for.
That's ridiculous rule, that, isn't it? You should be able to celebrate how you want, within reason, obviously.
It reminds me of the Key and Peele Hingle McCringleberry sketch where he's and there's a 3rd thrust on sportsmanlike conduct. I'm like, I'm sorry, he's not flipping birds at people or, screaming obscenities. It doesn't matter. Let him celebrate the way he does. I'm just going to put this up from Jay because I've just seen it come up. Are you going to put the one from Jay?
No, you go.
Jay Smith, NFL equals no fun league.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and also from earlier, while we're on this subject, this one came in from Jonas. Quote of the night when the reporter said, "What did they flag you for?" Spoon, taunting, and it was definitely taunting.
Oh, that was brilliant. That was. Yeah, that was great. The journalists enjoyed that last night in the press, didn't they? They were all loving that. That was great.
It's the most relaxed I've seen him as well. Actually. Yeah, they're really relaxed
nice.
now, I think.
Right, so Kobe the glue, and the next one. Oh, God, Mitch.
Yeah, the best terrible timeout of all time was last night. So the team clearly were annoyed that we'd got the 4 and out and we'd called a timeout because it was such a quick bang play. They snapped the ball. Murray tried to throw a short completion, got broken up, and then the flag came. It all happened so quickly, and I think Mike Mack had a bit of egg on his face when we would have been off the field. Yeah. But for that for the reset to then be a pick 6 in a game where we only scored 16 points has to be the best timeout, the best terrible timeout of all time. I don't know that there will ever be or ever has been a better one than that.
Agreed. Kickers are people too. Go on.
See, I'm not going to tear them apart here, but anyone that was in our Discord last night in our game day channel will have seen multiple discussion points revolving around Jason Myers, the amount we pay him, the consistency we get, and then ultimately at the end of the game, the clutch moments where he pulls you through. And I can't help but think that Jason Myers is truly a victim of his own success, because the money he gets paid now, at times in his career, he looks like he's deserved it. But then there are also times where you look at a mistake he makes or a missed PAT, as we had yesterday, and you think, how on earth is that one of the league's best paid kickers when they can't make the simplest of kicks? So I think he's the high points and the peaks of his career and time with us have created that contract that he now can't consistently justify. Yeah, that's where I am.
I agree. Go on, Richard. What's your opinion on kickers?
No, I did think it was a lot. His deal was a lot at the time. I thought, yeah, okay. I said, hang on, guys. It's quite a lot for what kickers do, really. So they got a lot of them are good, and in fairness, and a lot of them very rarely miss. But Myers, as you say, I agree with Mitch there. The victim of his own success, just around how well we've been doing the last couple of years, and we're obviously through with Pete and everything. It's been very good, but I'm not high on paying big bucks for kickers, and I thought we overpaid. But there again, I trust him as well. So I'm a bit on the fence with it, but I just think, we paid him a bit too much. But I'm always the first to jump up when he goes and has a successful. So
I have such a juxtaposed feeling about kickers, because we've seen some teams that can pull a kicker off the scrap heap and have success. Some teams that can have an undrafted free agent or a really late round draft pick be a success. Then we have the flip side of the coin where that just isn't possible. So if you get a kicker as consistent as Jason Myers is, who has the odd blip, you need to try and keep hold of him because they can win and lose you games. But again, not a fan of the contract. It's a lot for a kicker, and I understand that. And for anyone who's ever kicked an egg-shaped ball between a pair of posts, the pressure that's on you is unreal, because even though there is in American football, let's say, you've got your O-line, you've got long snapper, you've got the holder. The whole focus is on you as the kicker. The whole of that stadium is looking at you. So psychologically, you have to have a mind made of stone. So if you can get a good one, keep them. However, maybe don't keep them for as much as we've paid Jason Myers.
I think the other thing here is that the floor for a kicker that you draft or pick up seems to have risen dramatically over the years. The baseline for a kicker in this league, there aren't many bad ones, and the ones that people are drafting seem to be statistically sort of comparable at times with the top end, which makes me think that the only players you should ever be paying to kick the ball for you are the Tuckers of this world, the Hyungwei Koos, the guys that have that actual X factor that sets them apart, but can also do everything else consistently. Yeah, exactly. I just think that we've paid a semi-automatic kicker that's had good moments for us, like those players with the X factor in this league, and I don't see that J-My has that that sort of factor that stands him out.
Fair. All right, your next observation. Oh, Mitch,
the Huff hot seat. Yeah, so the Huff hot seat. I've pulled this one out. I can't think of an area of our team that would make us more playoff ready if we were to get 20% more out of it than the O-line. And such high expectations when we brought in Huff because of what the Washington Huskies did last year with their O-line, that we would see some improvement with the team, with the players we had, plus a lot of players we drafted and picked up, and free agents we picked up too. There was a lot of investment into it. We brought in a coach that excelled in college with it, and we've regressed. That for me has put Huff as a first-time NFL coach on a hot seat, and it's the most obvious. If I was to tell you for me the most obvious coaching change to take place over the off season, right now it has to be Huff.
I'm rooting around for a pen. I need to timestamp this so I can make this into a little short to send to people like I did with the one last week. But there we go. So we lasted
35, 30.
We lasted about 35 minutes into this pod before we started speaking about O-line like that. And it wasn't even the O-line itself, it was the coach. So, well done. High fives, everyone. There you go. You can tell what happens when we win 2 games. We don't have to talk about the O-line all the time. All right, it's my go. The D is coming together. So this is just a quick observation from me, and it's proven by the fact we did not let in a single touchdown. They were relegated to purely field goals. Mike Mack's defensive scheme seems to be embedding properly. That was evidenced by the pressure on Kyler Murray, not allowing him to get out for many scrambles. The run game was pretty much non-existent for the Cardinals. Everyone seems to now know their role. So it's what I was talking about before. Just do your job. Everyone seems to be doing their job, and to great effect. If we can carry on like that, I am happy for us to win games by... If we win a 6-3 game, I don't care. If I'd like to have more offensive touchdowns, which I'll address later, but if this D carries on going the way it is, and again, I'm pretty sure this is the prediction that we made at the start of the season, Mitch, wasn't it? After the bye, we'd start seeing this D come together as to what we expect it to be and clicking. So there you go. People check out past episodes if you want to see exactly where we said that. But yeah, that was my first one. And this one I want to have a chat about. So obviously, no one on the Seahawks wears the C on their chest. They have game day captains, not squad captains, which honestly is something that I love. I've used whilst coaching before, to have a team captain and then go, you know what, you've done a lot, so let's take the pressure off you for a game and give it someone else and let them have a crack of the whip. I think the leaders are starting to show out. And I've got a list in my head of who I think the leaders on this team are. I'd say 2 offensive, 2 defensive, 1 special teams. But I'd like to know what you boys think about that. Richard, if you want to pick 2 offensive standouts to be captain, 2 defensive standouts, and then a special teamer, who are you going to go for?
I'm always one to go with a quarterback for offense, so I'd go with Gino. And surprising maybe, but I'd go with DK.
Yes, my man.
Just because I just genuinely think he would bring the best out in him to have that responsibility. I know he's had his bit of petulance in the past, isn't he? With he gets frustrated and gives penalties away by just pushing people and things like that. But I just think that his passion is there for us, and I just think that that extra responsibility will sort of rein that in. So, and I just think that it shows that we want to keep him as well for the long term, that sort of thing. So they would be my two. Defense, Leonard Williams, just for experience alone, and the fact that he will bring on the younger players. And I know he's only been here not long, but it'd be Ernest Jones for me, just because what he's doing. I think give him the green dot. I think that says a lot as well. So he's clearly got that ability to be that type of role for him as well. So that's what I would go for on that one.
Special teams. There's not many to pick from, really.
Yeah, probably Jason Myers, just for longevity, to be honest with you, and know-how and what he could do for the group. I know a lot of people would probably choose people who will be more involved in the action, but I just think I'm one to fall back on experience on that one, to be honest.
Fair. I like it. Go on, Mitch, who would yours be?
Tyler Lockett for me is the standout. He's been there, done it, seen it. He's got such a calm persona. A stark contrast to the DK captaincy. He's the least fiery of the two you could pick.
Yeah.
But I think he's got that wealth of experience. He's a calming voice, and I don't know if there's been a more clutchy contributor to outside of the quarterback, the two last quarterbacks we've had in 2-minute drills. There hasn't really been a more consistently clutchy player than Tyler Lockett. As Gary's just said in the comments, Michael Dixon would be my special teams captain, because when you talk about what you really want from special teams is you want them to not just be that sequence between the changing of who's got the ball. You want them to be someone that can make a difference, to give you a little advantage out of nowhere, whether it's a few extra yards on a return or pinning a team in the, start your drive from the 5-yard line or the 10-yard line. Michael Dixon is one of the most consistent players when it comes to just giving us an edge in what he does because of the mastery he has of his job. He shows out with such consistent performances for us. Michael Dixon for me would be the same. Again, clutchy. Maybe I just like a clutchy player who can pull something out in a key moment. But Tyler Lockett and Michael Dixon for me are the two.
And
I agree with the Gino one. Defensively, I like Leonard Williams as a leader. My point, which I removed because of Rich's point, was that Leonard Williams was leading from the front in this team right now, and it all starts up front. They all contribute, but it all starts up front. He is such a good leader, and he's been really candid with calling things out this season when things weren't good. He didn't shy away from anything. He encouraged people taking responsibility for their failings, holding people accountable for mistakes. That's the leadership I want to see. So on the pitch and off the pitch, he is living it for me. So Leonard Williams is that standout. And down the line, Devon Witherspoon, he's the barking dog on that back end. And outside of Ernest Jones, I don't think there is maybe I've done Julian Love dirty there. Maybe
I think you have.
Yeah, Julian Love, Ernest Jones, Devon Witherspoon. There's a lot of candidates back there.
So when it comes to Rich's offensive captains, no notes. Gino and DK, that's it for me. DK, I think having a player of that caliber, even with his temperament, when you give him that responsibility, it does tend to calm them down. But you wouldn't want him to take that fire out of his game just because he's got a bit of responsibility. So it's a very fine line, that. I'm going for Big Dixon energy in my special teams. He will be my captain there because he can pull something out of the bag and just rescue us 60 yards if needs be. Defense, Leonard Williams. If anyone's caught his press conference where he was talking about the leaders having a meeting to talk about what they want going forward and what's been going wrong and how to rectify it, that I can guarantee that's probably the type of man that's called that meeting unprompted, because he doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want to be showing up. He just wants to win with this team, and he loves Seattle, so he wants to see this team succeed. I'll admit I didn't consider Ernest Jones because he is so new, and I want him to keep excelling at the job he's doing. A green dot is essentially a field captain anyway. I don't feel like he needs to be an actual captain. Spoon, I have been very high on giving him a captaincy, but I don't think he's ready yet. It would be Julian Love for me. He has been a captain in New York. He's been a captain here already. The guys obviously respect him. He's Mr. Consistent in that secondary. I think he's got the ability to really drag others up with him. And that's where I pick. And I think these guys are starting to show their value on the pitch as well. So just interesting. I wanted to see what everyone else's thoughts were on that. I'll admit you're doing the head tilt of...
yeah, sorry, that's my hint. I just want to check one little parting shot in there. One big special mention, and you'll roll your eyes when you hear the name I throw out here on offense. As a special mention for future leadership roles in this team, AJ Barner.
I really enjoy it.
I've really enjoyed watching him recently. I think he's for a 4th round draft pick. I think he's showing more than what people expected.
I agree.
Thrust into the limelight.
Completely agree.
He's been brilliant.
Listen to him talk in some of his first interviews when he joined the team. When you hear about his ambition and what he wants to do, so much of it, he just talks like a leader, and it's that kind of attitude that will take you to the very top of the NFL. You know, if you've got that kind of drive to succeed and improve and bring other people with you, you'll do brilliantly in this league, and he has that in spades. So, yeah, he's a winner.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've got so obviously Gary in the comments. He's got Gino for offense. Defense, he's got Ernest Jones. And then special teams, Michael Dixon, or as he also says, Mr. Consistent. And then I don't know if Jay was just agreeing with us, Michael Dixon. If you're watching and you watch this after the live, but you'd like to let us know what your opinions are on who you think should be is a leader on this team, by all means, pop it in the comments, because we'd love to hear about it as well, because everyone's got a different view on leadership, whether it's a steady hand and and an experienced head to lead people, or you want a team that's going to be based on fire and grit, in which case you go sort of the DK Witherspoon route and whatnot. So just the fascinating conversations I have with people, it really gives you an insight into someone's mind. So I'm glad we're all three of us are on kind of the same wavelength anyway. Right, my next one. Offense still has work to do. And I'll open this one up to conversation. My last one will just be a point, because I'm kind of contradicting what I've said here. Barring what I'll talk about next, this offense still has massive issues getting into the end zone. Massive issues. The play with JSN scoring his touchdown, I thought was fantastic. I part of me was a bit worried that we'd end up going, JSN's done all that work to get us all the way up there, let's try and give it someone else to score a touchdown. But he was wide open, took that fantastically. Over the whole season, barring probably the first 3 games, we have showed such an inconsistency and inability to convert in the red zone that it frustrates me, especially the running game. Because when you've got a Ken Walker and to an extent Zach Charbonnet, I know he's got a lot of critics, and I defended him on X last night through our account, we just don't seem to be getting it done. And it really irks me. Really irks me. Well, Richard, what are your thoughts on our offense at the moment?
It absolutely infuriates me, that run game in the red zone as well, to be honest. The amount of times just screaming and thinking, come on, guys. We've put ourselves in such good positions, and I'm thinking to myself, do I believe that we're going to get something here? Are we going to get this touchdown? Half the time I don't. And I don't like that, to be honest with you. And with the offense, it's taken a bit of magic, isn't it, to get us going. We had that 8-minute drive to ice it yesterday. We really needed that. That throw to DK from Gino, fantastic to get us up there. But then again, the one to Ken Walker that almost got overturned. I'm like, what was that? What were we doing? What are we doing there? And how close we were. We're in our own half. And the one when the pick in the end zone, but he could have run that in for a first down. So it's either elite or it's stupidity.
Yeah,
opposite.
It's a bust or boom offense, isn't it? Or boom or bust. There are so many things. And the throw from Gino, that was an interception. That was good defensive play as well, because that was an absolute bullet that he threw. So for that young cornerback to turn around and catch that, I thought, a fair play. You baited Gino into the throw with sort of a mixture in the coverage and sort of the disguise. But then to catch it, I just thought, that's like Mitch said, Gino's got at least 1 or 2 in him every game.
Yeah.
And there we go. I just think it's the more consistency, better play calling, using the weapons we have to their fullest effect. That catch by DK wasn't manufactured by Gino. Fair play, Gino managed to avoid pressure, but that was manufactured by DK because his route had finished. But he saw, if you watch the replay, he stops, then goes, "Oh, actually, I'll carry on going there." And Gino actually squeezed that in between sort of double coverage, particularly triple coverage. So it was lucky. If that had been an interception, we would have been on a totally different conversation right now.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. So, well, Mitch, your opinions on the offense at the moment?
Yeah, I said this a little bit with Richard in the green room before we came on. The defense is making it so that the offense doesn't need to be that consistent. We can have a few 3 and outs as long as the defense is shutting out our opponent. We're going to get multiple shots, and I feel like the star quality that we have in our wide receiver room right now is making up. It's patching a lot of things up for a scheme that isn't quite motoring. It isn't. Yeah. It's not a purring engine right now. It is spluttering. But luckily enough, those splutters are a big 47-yard, JSN, rack. So rack moments. So I feel like we're giving chances to the offense, and they're not overly consistent with the scheme. And that also comes a lot off the offensive line, not allowing the running game to establish, and then so. It all comes back to offensive line not allowing for a offensive scheme to sort of flow. I think we're getting these lumpy, chunky yards at the moment, but we got the players to do that.
We have, and that's abundantly clear. Just imagine. Let's just all put your imagination hat on. Mike Mack talks about poise. Imagine if that poise actually results in complementary football from both sides. What will the scoreline be like? What will the game look like? I imagine there will be Seahawks fans the world over looking like, is it Kyle's dad from South Park by their computer or their TV? It'd be mind blowing. I think I'd probably faint. I just want to give a quick shout out to some of the comments. So we've had Gary coming in saying, for me, until the offense gets a consistent run game, it's always going to be a struggle. And then Jay, one of our newest subs, thank you very much. If you are watching and you've not subbed, please do. You can join Jay and the rest of these awesome people in here. To me, Gino's play is consistent with a player that realizes he's the only one that can make things happen. So he feels like he needs to swing for the fences every single play. Can't even argue with that, because some of these are dubious throws, but he's thinking, I need to make this happen. I need to push this in. And then Jay again, Gino needs a run game, and Grubb needs to call quick hitting plays, slants, swing passes, jet sweeps, etc. When we play with tempo, I think we're a much better team. And that comes from the throws, that comes from the cadences, everything needs to be at tempo for us, if you ask me. Right. And then my last one. Final drives are excelling. So there we go. I've gone offense needs work. But you know what? Those final drives, 2 thumbs up. So you look at Gino's final drive last week and the 8-minute drive yesterday. That 8-minute drive was an absolute soul crusher for the Cardinals. Just to take that much time off the clock, keep moving the ball like that, get some of the bigger plays in there. If only we converted it at the end, that would have been fantastic. But that type of thing at the end of a game is showing, for Gino haters that may be out there, Gino does have clutch moments where he can manage a game right at the death to make sure we win that game. And B, there is a lot of good that does come out of this. I mean, we've still got comments coming in as well, but I genuinely think that Gino will be with us for another contract. I think we'll probably look to draft not this year, but maybe next year, or not this draft coming up, but the one after for a QB. And I think we'll keep Gino to mentor for at least another year and then bring someone else to do it that way. And I think Gino's got it in him. But yeah, that's my insight on that. Now, next up, we have got one of our favourite parts of the pod. This is where we get to interact with our amazing members of the Discord. So we've got our Discord member musings. But before we go into that, I'd just like to have a little shout out from our sponsor, Wraith Energy. So back with you in a minute, and then we'll get into our Discord member musings.
Let's give a big shout out to our sponsor, Wraith Energy. Wraith is a sugar-free energy drink that comes in these handy-dandy little sachets that you've not got to take in a huge can away with you. Simply mix it with half a litre of water, give it a good shake, and you are ready to go. It is sugar-free. It has all the benefits of pretty much every energy drink you'll have, apart from the fact it doesn't cost you a fortune, and they're very, very honest with what they have in there. You have taurine, caffeine, multiple vitamins, no sugar. And for any of you who try sugar-free energy drinks, usually you'll know they're not the best. Wraith, however, I have tried the majority of the flavors now, and I love every single one. If you want to try Wraith, go to wraithEnergy.com, and when you're going to check out, use code 12Talk for 10% off. You'll thank us later. Go Hawks.
There we go. Big shout out to Wraith. I've got one of my sachets here at my desk, ready for when I need it at work. And
which flavour have you got there, Josh? Which flavour was that?
This is battle gum.
Oh,
I get because I'm too indecisive. I can't just stick with one flavour, so I get all the.
Yeah, you get the pack of all the sachets, don't you? All the different ones. Yeah. I've got the voodoo. I've got the voodoo grape, and I like it that much. I've got a tub at work, and I've got a tub at home. I like the flavour that much. I don't want to forget to take it to work, so I'm taking it in.
Never without it. I've started speaking to the lads at the rugby club about it as a sort of pre-workout and whatever else. I think it's brilliant. So big shout out to Ray. Thank you very much. There you go. That is our sponsored ad. But now let's get on to our favourite part, our Discord member musings. No.
We need to record. We need to record an actual.
I'll get onto Slim Jennings. I'll be like, Slim, you've done our intro and outro music. Can you do us some jingles as well? But this is where our members of the Discord get their chance to ask questions before we go live. So they're all preloaded. And after this pod, I know for a fact that there'll be some in there from Rich. So I'm going to open these to the floor. I will read them, and you two gentlemen can wax lyrical about them. So here we go. Jonas, upgrading the O-line, decisions on Gino and DK, as well as extending the 2021 rookie class with K9, Marfay, Cross, Lucas, Reek, and Bryant. Is this upcoming offseason the most important for John Schneider in Seattle? Go on, guess first, Rich. Always guess first.
I just think that upgrading the O-line is massive for us. If we need to move on to the next stage in the development of this, we need to get that sorted. Upgraded O-line equals more chance for a better running game, all that sort of thing. I just think that is absolutely key more than anything. I've been screaming for it all season. I'm getting pretty fed up with it not working as well as we'd hope. Even under Mike and his first year, obviously with the new coaches, I just think it's been lacking for a while, to be honest. And I just think that is key for me, without a shadow of a doubt. And yeah, Gino, I agree with you, Josh. I think we will keep him. All depends, really, mandatory, but I think we will keep him. DK is an absolute essential. And then, yeah, it's a free for all with the rest, isn't it? Because like Maffei has more than earned his chance. Lucas, I think since he's come back in, it's been a little bit better. He's been a bit more protection there. I think he's going to be a key part of it. Reek as well has been excellent this year. COBY BRYANT coming back in, and as Mitch said, is doing well. And then K9, he's RB1. So there's some big decisions to be made for sure.
Mitch, you look pensive, contemplative.
I'm trying to think which players out of this are least likely to get the deal that they want. DK will get paid. I'm not sure Gino's back, but if he is back, I think it will be like an extension of 1-2 years tops with a quarterback taken this year. I think quarterback will be taken this year. I'm quite high on a number of candidates this year in the draft as good understudies.
Save that for your draft pods.
No, I know. It's a hint to what's to come.
Nice.
But yeah, I think a little amuse bouche. Yeah. K9's essential. Maffei's essential. I think if you're looking to improve the O-line, you're not going to get better than Charles Cross without a top 10 pick. And we're not going to be trading up. So I think extending Cross makes sense. If Lucas can finish the year strong and prove that fitness, he's an obvious lock for a new deal. Reek and Bryant are where I'm not sure. It depends a little bit on what their market is. Reek will get offers from a lot of teams where he's a better scheme fit for their defense. Bryant, I don't think, because of the inconsistency throughout his rookie contract, potentially is quite affordable to renew and could turn into an absolute diamond in this defensive scheme for years to come. I think Reek misses out.
As much as I hate to say it, I kind of agree with you there. I look at that whole. I think again, I agree with Gino, DK. I think K9 would be extended, but obviously we know that the running back market is like this unless you're posting ridiculous yards and touchdowns every year, a la Christian McCaffrey. Maffei. Now, hear me out here. With the performance of Maffei and Hall as young edge rushers and Wosu's injury history, I'd have to double check the contract, but would you see benefit in re-signing Maffei, keeping Hall, and maybe cutting or trading Chenna? Just going to dangle that carrot out there for people.
I hate it, but I can see it.
Yeah, I hate it, but it makes sense. That's the worst thing about it.
Doesn't it? Yeah, it does.
If you're trying to build a young roster that is going to grow with a new head coach, then you keep the younger players. Cross, yeah, but you want to get top tier left tackle money. Lucas, 100% yes, if he remains fit. And I'm with you, Mitch. Bryant, I think he's not going to command top tier money, so he could be a nice re-sign for us who will excel in a system like this. Reek, as much as we all love him, don't know if he'll stay. Right, let's move on to Gary. Would you agree Mike McDonald looks to have turned the corner and this team is heading in the right direction, even if they don't make the playoffs? I'll tag on the last bit as well. The O-line's playing better, but there's still a problem getting a consistent run game. Should it be a priority to address interior in the off-season? Guess first.
I think I've looked to turn the corner. To be honest, expectations. I think either way, it was a one-game win or loss record. Either way, depending on how it would go. But yeah, this season I think was a case. Obviously, it's big changes everywhere across the board. So I was always how well he did with the Ravens. I was interested to see how he's going to step up with us. And I can see, like, look, the defense, there's a plan there, but people need to fit his scheme for this to work.
Yeah.
Like versatility in aspects is there where we need it, but other areas there's specific players that are needed. So I think he's finding the balance on that bit. If we don't make the playoffs, yeah, it'll be disappointing, but there's other aspects with this that I can say, hang on, this has been a good starter for 10, and let's roll on next season. Let's see how we can kick on and progress.
And invest in the interior O-line.
Well, you got me on my views on that.
Although John Schneider won't, because he doesn't see value in it.
I think he's the only person, isn't he, out of anyone associated with the Seattle Seahawks who's got that opinion. And it's like, come on, John. Come on.
I imagine Gino walking past him in like the corridor, just staring at him after he's been sacked from like a nose tackle like twice in a game. Just like, no interior O-line. They're not worth the money, are they not? Go on, Mitch.
Yeah, on that subject there, if we weren't paying tight ends, I'd be okay with it because we don't bloody use them anyway. We haven't got an option but to use a left and right guard. So pay those guys. Don't like if we hadn't have signed Fant, but we picked up Brown, drafted Ejibana, and maybe took a late round or UDFA, or we were using Mabry or Brady. Is it Brady? Who's the other one? Brady Russell. Yeah. If our tight end room was Brown, Barner, and Brady Russell right now, and we'd spent that money we spent on Fant on an interior lineman that was making a difference right now, I'd have loved that move because I'd have said, okay, well we've not progressed with our usage of tight ends, but we've solidified the O line enough for our running game to be consistent. That annoys me because we spent the money on the tight ends and we still got a rubbish O line. So,
you know the worst thing as well? If we hadn't signed Fant and that would have been our tight end room, the stats still would have been near enough identical to what they are now with Fant, even though Fant's out injured.
Thanks for that.
Sorry, I didn't want to sort of stick that in and twist, Mitch, but that's
no, but that doesn't make me feel any better because it just confirms the fact that we paid the wrong position. But we've been doing that for years, aka Jamal Adams. So let's not get into that can of worms.
Let's gloss over that.
Yeah, for sure. And in terms of turning the corner, I think defensively we've put it on tape now at the beginning of the year. We slumped and we got back to it. I feel like we turned the corner in some ways there because we've shown, or Mike Mack's shown that he can identify what's going wrong and fix it. That makes me happy because for the longest time under Pete, we kept putting plasters on it and reinventing it, and it didn't work, and it was infuriating. The bend don't break era with Ken Norton and things as well. When looking at this defense and then comparing it to that, I can say that I'm really happy with the progress.
Yeah,
offensively, not there yet.
That bend don't break thing. We've had that conversation on the pod before, where I've reiterated the fact that regardless of how much you bend something, a ruler, if you bend it enough, it will break, and it will break multiple times. So it's a ridiculous amount.
My ass.
Yeah. Shatterproof my ass. But yeah, it's just like I don't get that. I think we have turned a corner, but can I just remind everyone this is 2 games after the bye week where we've done well. Don't be like, that's it, we're going to the playoffs, we're going to be amazing going forward, because we know that's not the case in football. We may feel we turn the corner, but there are other teams out there that may do as well. We're about to come up against the Jets, and even though the Jets aren't great, they still have Aaron Rodgers on there, they still have Garrett Wilson, they've got Devontae Adams, they've Breece Hall. The list is endless. They could turn a corner as well. They could decide to play. And then what are we going to be having a conversation about next week? With regards to the O-line, I think I don't need to really make my feelings known on that because I discuss it every single week. Jonas here, Gino was fearless in good and bad ways, leading a long fourth quarter drive and set up the Myers field goal after throwing another boneheaded pick. How does he clean that up without losing his killer instinct?
Well, I'll tell you what, you've just summed up exactly what I think of the man, to be honest, in that sentence. It was exactly it. But look, what he did out in San Francisco and what he did to ice the game, that is, you've got that or you haven't, haven't you? And again, that stupidity is there on times as well. But how to clean it up is a very difficult thing, really, isn't it? Because you cannot change the way he is. You can't try and sort of dilute the way he plays, because I think it'd be completely different. I think he'd go downhill that way. So I think we're going to have to take the rough for the smooth at the moment, as in that scenario. As Mitch said, he's got two interceptions in him, I think. But with these last couple of games, he's shown that he is doing things for us as well, which is really helping us win games. So. But he's fearless, if good in a bad way, is spot on, is how I would describe him as well, to be honest. So,
agreed.
Yeah, at times he reminds me of RoboCop. It's like he's got some kind of aiming system in his helmet, and he fits the ball into these ridiculously tight windows. And you look at it and you think that I don't even see Mahomes doing that at times. Like DK's in triple coverage and he puts it only where DK can get it. You look at it and you think we have an outrageously good quarterback. and then you see these boneheaded plays, and you know what has happened. Has RoboCop run out of batteries? Is his aiming system down? Was that him going manual on this occasion? Like, what is happening? What is happening with our quarterback? It doesn't look like the same player at times, because it goes from being so polished to so clumsy. It's like a rush of blood to the head or overconfidence. So, God, it's tough watching. Because you expect more because of what he's put on tape, and then he delivers this, and it's like, okay, that was awful.
Yeah, he brings it back down to earth, doesn't it? And it's like you just done something absolutely elite, and then the next play, you're like, what is going on there?
He's like the master of mental fortitude sometimes, but then also the king of the brain fart in like the next sort of play. So he goes from, you're like, how has he squeezed that in? That was pinpoint accuracy. That was elite. To, why is he throwing that pick? Why did he hold on to the ball for that long? Why don't you just throw it out of bounds? And it baffles you. But then no one's perfect. No QB in the league's perfect. And I say this, so Jay Smith's going to come in here now with some Geno facts. So even at 38.5 million, Geno's cheap in today's QB market. I agree, extending him to free up cap space makes sense. Not going to argue that.
Yeah, can't disagree with that.
I don't know who they all are, but those making more money than Geno, who would you want instead of Geno? And now we've got the list. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Give me a yay or a nay. Trevor Lawrence.
Nay.
Nay.
Nay. Dak. I'll start with this one. Nay, 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 nay.
Hey.
I just merely for the fact I don't want to hear, okay, here we go, before every snap. I can't take it. I can't do it.
All right, so Kirk Cousins.
No to that.
No dice.
No.
Tua, who is someone breathing in his face away from concussion and having to retire from the league. No. Jay goes on to say, I don't think I want any of those. I can't remember the others. You don't need to remember the others. I think this is where we need to appreciate that we've got a veteran quarterback who hasn't started throughout his whole career in the league. His redemption arc is fantastic. We need to appreciate what he gives us for what we're paying him, and the fact that we get some truly elite play from Geno. But on the other hand, the reason he's not started all of his career is because he is prone to a brain fart. So you have to take that, like Mick said, rough with the smooth. That's all it is there. Let's move on to the next lot of Discord member musings. There's a few here. I think this might be the last page actually. So Jonas again, it's concerning for me as well. But it's his first year coaching the NFL too. I hate the hire and fire mentality. So I give Grubb at least another year so he can adjust his approach over the offseason. If there's no improvement in 2025, one could put him in the hot seat by then. Even Waldron got multiple years in Seattle. And then, our friend Ben's come in saying, got to take into account, but can't afford to lag too far behind if Mike Mack is about to create a championship defense. What are your feelings on Grubb, gents?
Yeah, it's just the running game for me. It's not there, is it? But other times then, there's some real good plays. So it's just like, again, it's just not consistent. But I do think we'll give him more time. But if it doesn't work towards like the start and middle of next season, I think there's some conversations that need to be had, isn't there, really? But for me, I'd keep him on, see what he can come up with between now and the end of the season. But things need to change to get a running game going, to be honest with you. But I would give him another shot.
Mitch?
Yeah.
There's quite a few offensive comments here, so
I'm just going to say, I'm going to make one comment. I'm just going to make one observation here, right? If you've got a championship, assuming that Mike Mack improves this defense next year and it is a lockdown setup, if you've got that, two questions: have you got a run game? Have you got a good kicker? Because if you've got either or both of those things, you're going to win games. You're going to win enough to get you to the playoffs, and you're a functioning team. If your budget and your cap is spent on X factor wide receivers, then you're putting the ball in the air and risking turnovers, rather than leaning on a run game to get you in range to kick and just consistently generate points. So we are not set up correctly for that. If that makes sense, we are top heavy with receiving talent, whereas we could have that money in the offensive line and be running the ball more consistently. And that is kind of where we need to sort of maybe adjust. Maybe with Tyler Lockett, if he retires, draft a wide receiver 3, promote JSN, put that money into the O line. Maybe that starts to sculpt that into a machine that can win us something. That's where I am with that.
I like it. I mean, to be honest, with all of these comments, that all the Discord member musings are all very much on the same line. So,
yeah,
last week's podcast guest, Racecourse Ramble. Our running game is tepid. Is this purely an O-line issue, or are our Bs not fit for what Grubb wants to do? First issue, and this is one thing I have to say, it all comes down to protection, in my opinion. The reason we can't do a lot of what Grubb wants to do, a bit of an experience with NFL schemes and defenses, fine. But B, you can't get anything going without a decent O-line. Without protecting your quarterback or giving your running back lanes in which to run through, you cannot run a scheme. So if we sort that fundamental piece out in the offense, I'd look forward to seeing what we're going to do next year from an offensive standpoint. There's one that I just want to address with you, Mitch, because this is again from Ben. So how is Mitch feeling after his comment about the 49ers being spent as a force last week and seeing them lose another last night in a blowout, and the NFL media starting to say similar?
I'd like to start my response to this by pointing out that Ben is not watching, or hasn't commented at least this evening. First of all, I'd like to just mention that I beat him in fantasy this week. Secondly, so there's a layer of smug. There is a layer of smug from that, but there's also a layer of smug from the fact that my Mystic Mitch moment there, saying that the 49ers were done following being followed by a humiliating loss this week. There is a double layer of smug. Thanks, Ben.
I'm not even going to talk about fantasy because, sorry, Jonas.
Running away with it, aren't you?
And yeah, top of the league, self 5. Thanks, Mitch, for some of your tips. So we've got one here from Bryce, but then we've also had a comment on YouTube from Jay Smith that I think fit really well together. How do you all feel about this offense this season? And going forward, we were supposed to be carried by an offense, and at midpoint of our season, the defense is carrying us. I get the feeling Grubb, I can't even read now. You can tell it's getting late. Grubb will be a one and done in the NFL if the offense continues like this. And I know he was choice 3 for Mike Mack. The first 2 choices were Arthur Smith and Mike Kafka. What are your thoughts? Before we go into that one, Jay has asked up thread previously, is Grubb breaking Geno? Now, there seems to be a lot of Grubb discourse. Let's have a quick chat about this before we sign off for the night. Is Grubb going to be one and done? I think we addressed that before. I think he's going to get another year. Oh, and now Bryce is back in the comments just as we've read his question.
Yeah, of course he is.
Good timing, Bryce. Yeah, I think building a team like this, building a squad, it doesn't just boil down to young players, but coaches as well. You can't give someone you've plucked out of the college ranks 1 year and be like, you're not good enough. Of course he's not good enough. He's never coached that level before. But what he's showing us is that there are glimpses of what he can do if we put the right pieces around him. What do you think, Rich? Do you think it's is it a one and done?
It's a real Jekyll and Hyde scenario, isn't it? As we mentioned, like run game non-existent, and then we're putting some unbelievable plays out, but its consistency isn't there. I think it needs to improve, but it comes down to the all-line. Josh, again, I agree with you there. Things that starting to get better there, then maybe is that opening up a bit more. Maybe he's seeing, look, we got a weakness here, and he's not obviously not saying it, but there's a weakness there. How can I sort of try and get around that in the interim with the view to picking it up further? But I do think we'll see him next year. But I think if things go sour and they don't improve, I do think he'd be gone pretty sharpish, really.
I think you'll see another year. I think you'll see another year. For anyone that's ever been running with a weighted backpack or leg weights or that kind of thing, you know the relief when you suddenly start trying to run without those weights. If we give Gino an offensive line that functions on some level, that a running game can supplement, he'll get more time in the pocket. There'll be more defensive presence in the box, which will open up more 1v1 coverage. It would be like Gino suddenly dropping the weighted backpack and the leg weights and just having more time, more freedom, more one-on-one matchups. It could ignite in year 2 with a better O-line. Plus, he's dodging players coming through unblocked at times, stepping up in the pocket, finding time to play, playing in the hurry up brilliantly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've given him this training over the last couple of years, so that if we can provide him an O-line, he is just going to light the league up. He's leading the league in yards without exactly unlocking himself.
Pass rush is just going
bullet time, but it's Bosa. Yeah, I genuinely feel like if we can get it right and Grubb gets a second year, Grubb suddenly looks like a play calling genius. If we go into next year with a poorly functioning O-line again, I think Grubb won't be able to establish what he wants, and he probably will bite the dust. So that's where I am with it. I think he gets second year.
2 and done. I think if you can't put it together next year, and we said this at the start of the season, this is the first season with this coaching team who've inherited a squad to try and run what they want on offense and defense. So at the end of the season, there will be some wholesale changes. You'll see people that will just be shown the door, as we've seen mid-season. It's easy enough to, get rid of a Baker and, trade for someone you actually wanted pre-season and, just jettison Dotson because we've got someone that Mike Mack wanted. But when it comes to things like guard, any effective guard or decent O-line player, you're not going to pick up on a nothing trade. He's not going to be a free agent because people see the value in that, but it means they have to be paid as such. I think this year we've seen Grubb trying to implement stuff, but Gino hasn't got the time to let it develop, and the run game is suffering for it as well. Next year, with an off-season, with more coaching, with new players coming in, draft picks they probably want, and maybe a couple of free agent signings or trades, it could be a completely different ballgame. So I am going for year 2 with Grubb, very much the same as these gents here. And that, gents, is that for our Discord member musings. Thank you to everyone who's joined in. There's Mitch, what have you got for
Bryce has just come off. Just before we go too far, Bryce has just put a really interesting comment in there that really ties off what we've just said with the O-line. And luckily, Josh, I'm not going to cover your face now. We've changed our formation. So Bryce has just said the one thing I will say about the OC job is it's to make life easy on the O-line. When you look at this current scheme and the lack of pocket movement, it does kill a struggling O-line. And Jay's agreed with that. And Ben has shown up. Speak about beating him in fantasy and being smug about my predictions with the 49ers, and he shall appear. So he said that his Grubb issue is like Bryce says. We look disjointed and unbalanced and not working, hiding our weaknesses. He needs another year, though. I agree. I think he's now seen what he's got to work with. There are clear things there that are issues. He hasn't shown a particular nous for working around those weaknesses, apart from playing in the hurry up when pressure is constant. Other than that, I don't think we've really adjusted with Grubb. But great points, chaps. Thanks for the comments.
Well, with that, I think that's everything. I want to say a massive thank you to, there you go, pointing the right way now, to Rich for jumping on. Obviously, 12 Talk Pod, we are a pod by 12s, for 12s, with 12s, and Richard, as a 12, has kindly agreed to come on, as the majority of our guests are. They're Seahawks fans from all over, wanting to voice their opinion on a platform that, you know, we provide because this is what we believe in. Rich, thank you so much. Do you want to tell everyone, if they want to follow you on X, what your handle is and whatnot? It's on the title card as well. But
yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks for having me both. I really enjoyed it. First thing on the podcast, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. And great.
Won't be your last, mate. Don't worry, we'll get you back.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's just at Seahawks Wales on X. But yeah, that'd be great to interact with everybody, and going to get myself on this Discord now as well to extend that out.
Yeah, and with that, thank you very much for reminding me. If you want to join the Discord, by all means, there you go. Sorry about that, Richard. You can join our Discord. The master of the Discord is on the far end of the screen there. The link has been posted in our comments. You'll also find the pin post on our X. Oh, we also now have Blue Sky. That's right. The other social networking thing, which is surprisingly like X, but with a lot less ropey women on there and adverts. It's quite nice, to be honest. Like, yeah, I'm not scrolling through NFL feeds and seeing some random video of someone fighting someone or whatever, so it's quite nice. But yeah, you can find us on there. Just search 12 Talk Pod. I'll put the link somewhere as well. If you have joined us, it's your first time, or you just haven't, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can share us. You'll find us on X, Blue Sky, Instagram. We've got a Facebook group as well. We share a lot through various different platforms on there as well, and groups. Look to join the UK Seahawkers as well. The memberships are coming up for renewal in December. A fantastic organisation. And we are still looking for a venue in Glasgow for our meetup next year. We're having a few issues because we don't actually have anyone with boots on the ground. So if you watch this or you're a UK Seahawker in Glasgow, hit us up, because there's a few venues that we need someone to check out and actually go to. And we'll be relying on your feedback to let us know if we'll all have a good time or not, because Glasgow's quite a way for us all to go. But I just want to have a great time with the rest of UK Seahawkers. With that, gentlemen, Rich, thank you once again for coming on. Absolute pleasure. Mitch, my podcasting partner in crime. It is always a pleasure to pod with you. To everyone who's joined us, thank you so much. We always appreciate it. Make sure you check out our Discord and give us a like and subscribe. Really helps the channel grow and gets us out there to more 12s. So, shall we finish on a Go Hawks?
Go Hawks.
Nice. Well done, everyone. Thank you so much. And we will see you after the Jets game next week.